There are so many NBA what-ifs we love to dream about. What if OKC's big three stayed together? What if MJ never tried baseball? What if all of you subscribed and turned on notifications? Oh, that one's just me? Okay, how about this one? What if the season gets pushed back so far, Kevin Durant can come back and play this postseason? Now, this is a what if that could actually happen. You'd think everyone would be on board with this, but oh no. Some people actually think KD should not play, even if he wants to, and that it would be irresponsible to let him play. KD's agent even denied it, but in this video, we'll break down why Durant will absolutely play this season if it returns late enough. Hey guys, it's Casey Kiernan, host of the AM Hoops YouTube channel. Hit subscribe and notifications, coming out with 5 quality NBA videos all the way through the NBA suspension, 5 videos a week, dropping at 6 Eastern. Also, hit me up on Twitter at Casey Kiernan or over on IG at AM Hoops. It has been an awful few weeks for the world, but Brooklyn Nets fans might be getting used to it. Just this month, their team fired their coach, Kenny Atkinson, shut down Kyrie Irving for the year, and said Kevin Durant is not coming back this season. KD himself told ESPN this.
Is it possible that you're going to come back this year?
Not right now. I'm not thinking about it, just rehabbing every day. It's a slow process, so I'm grinding.
Yeah, that was before everything changed. He said that when he thought the season would end in June. Now it might start back up in June. And why not come back for the playoffs? We have seen videos of KD rehabbing, hitting 15 shots in a row, even dunking. Rumors were everywhere that Kevin Durant could come back depending on when the NBA season returns. Then his agent and business partner Rich Kleiman said this. Honestly, not very realistic from my standpoint, and not even spoken about. It clearly was not something that was in the cards prior to all this, and now, just like the rest of the world, it's hard to take anything more than day to day. I think that Kevin's going to figure out the space that he needs to be in to continue to rehab during this time. Even that is hard to answer at this point with the new kind of rules that were put in place, restricting player travel. That may convince some people that KD isn't coming back, but don't be fooled. We have heard way too many times people connected with sports lie to the media.
I've said it for 7 years. I've said it for longer than 7 years. I have never doped.
Spoiler alert, he did.
Are you willing to show contrition, admit that you bet on baseball?
Not at all, Jim, not at all. I'm not going to admit something that didn't happen.
Spoiler alert, it did. Even in soccer. Official team statement. Leicester City Football Club would like to make absolutely clear its unwavering support for its first team manager, Claudio Ranieri. And 16 days later, he was fired. Look, my point is, not only do I disagree with people who think Rich Kleiman's quote means KD won't come back, it's not even what he said. Again, his quote started, honestly not very realistic from my standpoint, not even spoken about. That's not a denial. There's plenty of wiggle room for KD to return, even in that quote. And what did we expect Kleiman to say? Oh yeah, KD could totally come back. I'm glad you asked. He's hoping to return this postseason and who knows, maybe win a championship. No, hell no. Do you know what kind of unnecessary distraction and expectations that would create for Kevin Durant? It's kind of like that soccer team who was planning on firing the coach, but comes out and says, no, we are not gonna fire him. If they said, yeah, we're about to fire him, do you know what kind of mess that would create? Now, the one wild card in this for Kevin Durant is after Kleiman said that, KD was one of 4 Nets players who tested positive. That's something we're not sure how to deal with at this point. But assuming he does recover from that, Durant will absolutely play if the season starts in late July. And I get denying it too. The smart thing for Durant to do is exactly what he is doing. Lay low, grind and rehab, then come back without a lot of buzz and media attention. If he announced his plan was to come back, talking heads would have a field day expecting him to compete for a title. So what will happen if KD returns to the court? Well, the first thing we have to know is, will Kyrie Irving be there too? He dealt with a shoulder issue most of the year before the Nets shut him down in late February. We just don't know that much about Kyrie's injury, so it's hard to say. We know a whole lot more about Kevin Durant's injury. He tore his Achilles in Game 5 of the NBA Finals last year. He had surgery, posted this photo on June 12th. And this is a chart of the recovery timeline for notable players who tore their Achilles. See that number down there, 269 days? That's the average amount of time it takes to get back. That's about 9 months. That would have KD back on the court right now, in March. Rich Kleiman can deny KD coming back all he wants, but he can't erase this quote he gave 2 weeks before. Quote, Tokyo is definitely a possibility. He allowed his name to be in the group of finalists, but there are other benchmarks in front of him that are more important before he makes those decisions. Ha! Rich Kleiman, you're telling me that playing in the Olympics, Tokyo, USA basketball is, quote, definitely a possibility. And then 2 weeks later, you say the NBA playoffs is not realistic. Well, let's look at the timing here. The Olympics were set to start July 24th. I think they're going to be canceled personally, but that's 15 weeks after the NBA suspended their season. Originally, Adam Silver said they could restart in about 4 weeks. Then it was 8 weeks. Really, no one knows when the NBA season is going to start again or if it'll start again. But we do know it would need to be a long break for KD to meet that Olympic start date. Again, like 15 weeks. Now, I think the season will start that late, leaving KD an opening to make his return this postseason. The NBA does not want to cancel this thing. There's too much money at stake. They'll hold off as long as the finals don't compete with NFL Week 1. That means the latest the playoffs could start is late July, a perfect time for a KD return. Some people argue the Nets won't let him come back. They say Durant needs to ease himself back in, and the intensity of the playoffs is not what KD should be thrown into. They might be right, but let's be honest. If KD wants to play, he'll play. Stars run things in Brooklyn, not the GM Sean Marks. Just last month, we saw Kenny Atkinson get fired. He was a coach who said the system will not change for Kyrie Irving. He didn't want to start DeAndre Jordan. And what happened? Jacques Vaughn was made interim coach. DJ started that very first game. Even Sean Marks said in a radio interview, he asked star players who should and should not be on the team. KD's voice is the loudest in that franchise. He will want to play, so he will. So if and when that does happen, and KD does return for this postseason, I honestly don't expect too much from him. Let's return to that list of notable guys who tore their Achilles. How many of them got back to their old self? Rudy Gay, but he's not the number one option Durant is, and Dominique Wilkins. Neek says he got back to an all-star level because, quote, he worked his ass off. But you know Kobe did that too, and he wasn't the same. So unless KD is like Dominique, then I expect him to be a lesser version of himself when he returns. But when you're the best or second best player in the world, that's not a bad thing. I think even though Kevin Durant will be less of a player, his starting point means he'll still be better than most. If KD returns for the playoffs, I think the Nets would upset the Raptors and would take Boston to at least 6 games in the second round. If Kyrie Irving is back too, we have a chance for a Nets-Bucks Eastern Conference Finals in late August, and who knows what would happen then. Even though I don't think the Nets can win a title this year, it is still critically important for KD to come back. I've said it before on this channel, teams need to take steps to win a title. It's literally been the case the last 20 years in the NBA. Every single team that has won a ring since 2000 failed in previous playoffs. If you want to see the entire breakdown of that, check out the video linked above. Now, Kevin Durant knows what it takes to get to and win an NBA Finals. So does Kyrie Irving. Joe Harris played just 5 games during the Cavaliers championship season, but every other Nets player has no idea what a championship looks like. KD is 31 years old now, coming off an Achilles tear. He doesn't have much time left. And it would not be the same thing as when he forced his way back on the court in last year's finals. This is after surgery, and in July, a full 4 months after the typical recovery time. Durant only gets a few more cracks at a deep playoff run, and it would be foolish to waste this chance. Now, if Kyrie doesn't come back, that's okay. It would be easier just to fit in Kevin Durant in an offense rather than try to work in both players. Jacques Vaughn probably has enough on his hands already. Kyrie was an awkward fit most of the season anyway. An offense run through KD with no questions is lethal. It's a big NBA what if, but it's a realistic NBA what if. If the NBA season returns late enough, Kevin Durant will absolutely make his Nets debut this postseason. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.